Hello, family and friends. Happy marvelous Monday. I hope that you all are well. Listen, I'm excited that you are joining me today. I'm Karissa Spann, the landlord and tenant expert, and today we are having a much needed conversation on what owners, I believe, should know about hiring a property manager, the cost of hiring a property manager. By all means, if you have any comments or questions, please drop it in the comment box. I welcome you from my Facebook channel, my YouTube, as well as my LinkedIn channel. Thank you so much. Welcome. Please let me know that you can hear me okay. Let me know where you are tuned in from. Hello, D. Happy marvelous Monday, beautiful. I am going to ask that today, if you would just, if you are an owner, if you are a real estate investor, a property manager, a sales agent, a broker, I want your feedback today. We are talking about the cost of hiring a property manager. Okay. So I want to make sure that the information I share is clear and understandable. That is my only goal today. And usually I share information for landlords as well as tenants. And so today it's more for owners and um, real estate investors on what people need to know, I believe, that will help them to understand what it costs when you're trying to hire or look for hiring a property manager. Okay. Um, so I want to know where you're tuning from. If you're watching from the DC metropolitan area, if you're in Charlotte, if you're in Atlanta, New York, let me know which location you're tuning from. Here's why I always ask for that information. I want to know what information I should be sharing based off of where you're tuning from, because here's the thing: the laws are going to be different just depending on your location and where you are. Okay. So, um, the show today is primarily for owners, for people who own real estate property, and you are looking to hire a manager, or for people who are looking to get into property management. There are some things I believe will be helpful for you to know. The industry, here's what I love about the industry. Full disclaimer, I've been in property management for well over 28 years. I love helping people. But I come to the realization that a lot of people are not so knowledgeable about the process, about what it means to manage property. And then sometimes I find that tenants, they rely on property managers. And because it is an industry that will never go away, right? Let's just agree that people will always need a place to stay. And sometimes people may not have a desire to own property, right? So there will be renters and there will be people who manage the rental property. But sometimes tenants are so trusting and they're trustworthy. They believe so much in property managers as well as owners. But all property managers are not created equally. So, having been in the industry for well over 28 years, I actually teach property management. And I have a lot of clients who are landlords and owners, and I help them to understand how to navigate the process, how to not to just manage their property, but to manage that landlord and tenant relationship. All right. And so today I am sharing tips because I want people to understand when you hire a property management company or you hire a property manager, what that cost is, what it could cover, and then the mistakes that sometimes people make because they hire the wrong person. So that's the show for today. That's all I'm discussing today, unless, let me just share, unless you have a question on another subject matter. And by all means, if you have a topic that you would like for me to cover in my upcoming weeks, please drop it in the comment section. This is what I do each and every Monday at 7:30 p.m. right here on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I share information to help the entire rental community. All right. So I just want to acknowledge some people who are tuned in. Hello, Miss Grier. Happy marvelous Monday. It depends on the service, Miss Grier. Some of my services are online. I am usually in the DC metropolitan area. So Let me know what information specifically you're looking for so I'll know how to help you. But I am located in the DC metropolitan area most of the time, but I do travel. So sometimes my background may change just depending on my location. So, in addition to managing property, I'm a landlord and tenant expert. I'm a landlord and tenant coach. So, I do consulting, I do training, I do workshops, and a whole host of things pertaining to property management and real estate. So let me get into the discussion on today. I promise I will not hold you long. But if you have questions, like I said, drop it in the comment section because I do value your feedback. I value your input as well as questions that you all may have. All right. So, what I want people to know and understand when you are looking to hire a property manager, on average, now the cost that someone um, could anticipate on paying, it really just depends on the services that you are looking for. Okay, I see that, Miss Grier. Thank you so much, Miss Grier. I'm going to ask if you would let me give you my email address. My email address is going to be carissaspann@gmail.com. Let me pull that up on the screen for you. Give me 1 second, and thank you for that. I will pause to make sure that you have my email address. All right, so give me 1 second as I pull it up, please. Okay, so Ms. Grier, here's my email address. Please contact me and I will follow up. Let me know what exactly you are in need of, and I can definitely help you. All right, so when it comes to property managers, a lot of people who are maybe not knowledgeable, inexperienced, or may have self-managed a property their own, and they just elevate to a place in life where they say, you know what, I am just tired of managing a property. So I'm going to turn it over to a property manager. And that happens a lot. Sometimes people get burned out. Sometimes people just want to enjoy life without the headache of managing their own property. And so this is when they reach out to a company, a property management firm, a property manager to get help with overseeing the day to day operations of that rental property. Um, so you're welcome, Ms. Greer. You're welcome. So on average, when it comes to a property manager or property management firm, the fees can range from on average 6% all the way up to 12%, and even higher, just depending on the nature of the services. So that could be 6%, 10%, up to 12% of the gross contract rent. So let's say, for instance, the contract rent for the rental property is $3,000. Okay. Hello, Mary Lou. Thank you so much for tuning in from the Philippines, and good morning to you as well. Um, it's even where I am in the United States, but I know that it's morning for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've missed you. Glad that you are joining me today. So let's take, for instance, a contract rent that's $3,000 a month. Okay, that management fee could be somewhere around, let's say, 10%. All right. So let's do the math. I want someone, if you would, because I want to make this interactive. Um, what is 10% of $3,000? If you can just put that in the chat box for me. Let's do the math. All right, we're going to do some property management math. I know that some of my students are going to tune in. I teach property management math because I want to make sure that people are prepared and understand the cost associated with the business. Thank you, Ms. Grier. So 10% of $3,000 is $300. That's per month. So if you have a property management firm or a property manager, and your fee to them for their monthly service is 10% of the contract rent, you would pay them $300 a month. That's your fee. That's just for managing the property. Now, here's the thing I want people to understand, that depending on the experience, the background, the services that are being offered, you could pay $300 a month for that property manager. But then there could be other fees such as maybe eviction fees, It could be leasing fees. There are a range of fees. I want people to hear this and really understand that your property management fee may not cover everything. It just depends on your contract and the setup that you have. So, if for instance, you have, let's say, a single property, right? You have a townhouse, a single family home, or a condo. You hire a property manager to manage that property as well as the tenant on your behalf. Your fee could be based off of the 10% of the 3,000. Your fee could be $300, right? In addition to any other cost that comes up. What are some other costs for some of my property owners, my property managers? What are some other fees that people can pay in addition to the monthly property management fee each month? What are some other services that could be offered where a owner would have to pay more than that property management fee? All right, D, are you still here? I want some of my students to tune in, to chime in rather. If you're watching, if you're knowledgeable about the property management fees, what are some other things that owners are charged for? Repairs, absolutely. The repair cost is not included in that monthly fee. Here's why. You are paying a professional for their service. You're not paying them for the maintenance. The maintenance cost could range. And usually the the property manager, they could have maintenance on staff, or maybe they could outsource it to contractors. Maybe they have a handy repair person. Hello, Caprice. Thank you so much for tuning in. Absolutely. You said it, a plumber. That's an extra fee. That's an extra cost. Okay, I see you, D. Thank you so much. So maintenance fees are extra. So if that means if you have regular repairs, maintenance repairs, or emergency repairs, the property manager would usually, if they don't have maintenance on staff, they would contact a professional to have the service done. Okay. You have, for instance, let's say it's an apartment building, a commercial apartment building. Let's say it's 28 units. All right. That's another good one. Thank you, D. So, pest control, that's an additional service. But let's go back to maintenance in this 12-unit building. So, let's say, since you brought that up, D, thank you so much. You offer pest control services twice a month. Maybe your pest control company comes out on the second and the fourth Monday of each month. Hello, Lynn. Thank you so much for tuning in, beautiful. So, Lynn, we are talking about costs that are associated in addition to above and beyond the monthly property management fee. Okay, so let's say you have this rental property, you offer pest control on the second and the fourth Monday of each month. That's an extra fee that you have to pay. So, the property management fee doesn't cover the service of pest control. The property manager fee may not cover the cost of repairs or getting a plumber out there. Okay. So let's say, for instance, Lynn, I know that you have rental property in the DC metropolitan area. So I'm going to come to you. So, Lynn, let's just say that you have to take a tenant to court, right? Your property management fee that you pay for the professional services, right, of whoever's managing that property. If you have to pay an eviction fee, the application fee to file any court paperwork, that's extra. That's not included in that monthly fee. All right. Eviction fees are extra. What are some other fees that a property management company may not cover? Some of you, I see many of you who are owners and your property owners, your property managers, you're in real estate. What are some other fees that are not covered, not necessarily in the monthly cost to manage the property? I'll pause for a few moments and I will bring up your comment on the screen as soon as I see them coming in. What are some other fees that are associated with the day-to-day operations of managing property? Miss Grier, Miss Hughes, Miss Parker. Lynn, what are some other fees that owners could anticipate on paying each month that's not covered? Thank you, Caprice. You said for electricians. Absolutely. Here's the thing, pipes will break. You may have an electrical problem. Things will come up with the rental property. All right. So if an electrician has to come out to rewire something, maybe you're having some renovations, some repairs done. The electrician has to come, or something just stops working, or the electric has to be upgraded, right? You have to pay the electrician. That's not covered in the monthly management fee. If a cleaning company has to come out, that's extra. So on average, a cleaning company could pay maybe 200, 250, 300. I've seen cleaning companies charge 375 to clean rental property. That's added, that's above and beyond. Anything not covered under the homeowner's warranty. Thank you, Ms. Grier. Now, here's the thing, because everybody may not have homeowner's warranty. And if you don't, I strongly suggest that you look into getting it because it could help you with that. Mary Lou, I see you chiming in. You said monthly dues. Absolutely. That's not covered. So if the rental property is a condo, and there are condo association fees, that's extra. If there are homeowners association fees, that's extra. Caprice said lawn care. Absolutely. You got to get a landscaper out there. You have to get someone to cut the grass, maintain the curb appeal, because curb appeal is important, right? So that's extra. Emergency calls in the middle of the night and snow removal. These are all extra costs associated with your rental property. Now, let's say, for instance, and this is a good one, Ms. Parker, lockouts. A tenant goes out, they hang out over the weekend, they have a really great time, and for whatever reason, they return to their home only to discover they lost their keys. They left their keys at the bar. They dropped the keys in their Uber or their Lyft, right? Somebody has to come out for that lockout. Now, it's not going to be the property manager in every case that will come out. It might just be a locksmith. That's an added cost. And so I'm sharing this information because I realize that some people don't know this. And um, one of the things that I share, and I talk about this often, I share my philosophy that if you treat your business like a business, it will pay you like a business. And if you treat it like a hobby, well, it's going to pay you like a hobby. So when I am taking clients under contract to manage their property, there should always be a maintenance reserve in place. What does that mean? If you are a property manager, if you're looking to get into the business of managing other people's property, make sure that owners, I want you to understand that there should be maintenance reserve set aside in the event that maintenance repairs do come up, because at some point it will happen. Like I said, pipes will break, um, there's going to be some sort of issue. A door may come off the hinge. There could be a fire, God forbid. But you want to make sure that there's a maintenance reserve set up for every rental property. Okay. It's so important to understand that, because I've seen some clients who did not prepare for a maintenance reserve, and they were not financially able to take care of emergency repairs when they came up. That's a terrible place to be. You are expected to treat your business like a business, and tenants are relying on you to make repairs. So, the best way to prepare is to make sure that you understand some of the requirements, and to make sure that you are putting yourself in a position where if anything happens to the property, on the property, or around the property, right, that you put yourself in the best position to take care of it. Here is why that's important, because a lot of jurisdictions are starting to crack down on owners who do not make repairs. And just because you pay a property management company, that's one thing. But if you don't have the money, if you don't have the finances or the reserves to cover maintenance costs, the emergency repairs and things that come up, you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. And tenants can and will and do take owners to court because of what's not being done at the property. Now, here's the biggest mistake that I find. True story. There's an owner who hired a property management company, right? The property management company was not knowledgeable about that type of property. And so the owner had an expectation that this property management company would come in, be professional, would be able to handle the tenants, the type of tenants in that community, and do a really great job. Well, unfortunately for that owner, it did not work out in their favor. So they had a property management firm that was not knowledgeable, was not experienced, and did a poor job in managing the property. And so at the end of the day, it ended up costing this owner thousands of dollars that could have been saved or allocated in another area had they took the time to do some research and interview property management firms before going with, or just signing them up for the service. So this company, they were not experienced in that particular type of community. They did not know how to handle the tenants' complaints. They did not know how to handle tenant relations. And they took the what I call the cookie cutter approach. The cookie cutter approach is where you have one philosophy and you make it fit for everybody. Listen, that's the worst mistake that people can make. I've been in the industry for well over 28 years, and I do not subscribe to the cookie cutter approach. Here's why: because different communities will require different levels of management. Some you have to be a little bit more aggressive, some you have to be a little bit more hands-on. Some requires a deeper level of learning and expertise and experience to successfully manage the property. And so the company was not knowledgeable and did not manage the property well. And so it ended up hurting this owner because it ended up going over to the government, where the government had to step in and oversee the management and what was going on at the property. As a housing provider, whether you're owning or managing the property, you are required by law to provide housing that's decent, safe, and sanitary. It should be habitable. It should be a place where tenants love to call home. And unfortunately, so many people miss the mark because they don't understand. Maybe, I don't know, maybe sometimes people want to take shortcuts. For whatever reason, they do what they do. That's on them. But all I know is this: make sure that if you have rental property, that you make the investment, not just in the property, which is an asset, but make the investment into your tenants because they deserve it, right? We know that bricks and mortar don't pay rent. That means vacant property won't pay bills. It won't put money in the bank, right? So if you have rental property, it should be paying you each month like an ATM. And if you have vacant property that's not paying you, then you have to take a look at what's going on. Is it the community? Is it maintenance? Or is it the property management company or the manager, right? You have to take a look at those things and ask yourself the hard question: what changes do I need to make? Because the rental property should be making money. Now, when it comes to um, communication with the property manager, I strongly believe in that face to face, that one on one communication. I don't run my business off of text messages. I know that a lot of people they're into text, and that's okay. And sometimes I do text, but at the end of the day, let's say for instance, Lynn, you have a property management company, right? And you send your property manager a text. They don't respond in, let's say, 72 hours. I'm sure, Lynn, you're not going to just stop there. If you are not getting a response, Lynn, I know that you would pick up the phone and you'll call your property management company to say, hey, I have a concern or I have a question, or can you provide me with a status update? Please make sure that you are using multiple ways to communicate with your property manager. Make sure that you are, in addition to sending text messages, send emails, but definitely reach out by way of phone. There is nothing that will erase that old school relationship, which is that, just hearing somebody's voice, picking up the phone, right? So please make sure that you are in constant communication with your property manager or that property management firm. You should be If you are looking, let me just back up some. If you are looking to hire a property manager or property management firm, you should be asking questions up front. You want to avoid nightmares later on, so you want to have these type of conversations up front. You want to first off find out that um, find out if you will their background and experience in managing your type of rental property, because not all property managers are experienced in every area. So for me, I've been in the industry for so long, but I specialize in affordable housing, and so I have managed market rental properties. I've managed rentals that were in some sort of housing subsidy program. I've managed a really diverse portfolio of rental doors, but every community is not the same and it requires a certain level of experience. I've managed tax credit properties. I'm a tax credit specialist. I've managed properties that have some sort of contract with HUD or the government. So I'm also a certified occupancy specialist. So that means that in certain communities, tenants, they have to recertify. They have to complete documentation every year to determine if they're still eligible to remain in the program. Like I said, I've managed market tenants where they don't have to complete any paperwork other than the application. They pay their rent each month and it's a great day, right? So it just depends on that property management company's background and experience. That will determine how well they perform for you. So these are questions you should be asking upfront when you are looking to hire a property management company. All right. You also want to find out if they have references that you can check to confirm that they are who they say they are, that they have the background that they say they possess, and their experience. That's so important. Listen, in the day and age that we live in, I believe that we are now starting to see, and we'll start to see even the greater, a lot of pretenders. People will pretend that they can manage property. People will pretend that they have the background and experience. And there are a lot of scammers who are ripping people off. True story. And I'm going to get into your comments. I see your comments and your questions coming in the chat box. True story. I was looking on the news this morning and they were talking about how people were being scammed, right? So, in order to avoid that, you want to ask the right questions, not just by way of email. Have a telephone conversation, have a video conference if you can, if you will. You want to confirm that people are who they say that they are. Anybody can say, oh, well, yeah, I manage property and I see it all the time. Yes, they could, but are they professional? Are they going to give you the best bang for your buck? All right, so I'm going to go to the comment section here, and then I'm going to share a scenario. I'm sorry, not a scenario. I'm going to share a real live event that recently happened. Lynn, you said document, document, document. Absolutely. Documentation beats conversation any day. I promise you. Caprice, you said you text. You said I text, so I will have documentation, then I call. That's a great practice. That's a great follow up. A lot of people don't recognize the importance of doing that. Here's why texting it is okay, because it is a written it's written documentation, so you can print out the text messages, you can screenshot it, and you can use it. You can put it in your tenants file, you can put it in your client file. You can definitely keep it for safekeepings, so that's a good practice. But also, like Ms. Parker said, she may text, but she will follow up with a telephone call. That's so important. Don't completely remove the human aspect of that relationship. So, Lynn, you said keep a log for the property and another for your property management company. That's so important. Thank you for that. Lynn, I want people to understand why keeping a log for the property is so important. Many people miss it. They don't capture the repairs that are being made. They're not capturing emergency calls that have come in. They're not capturing work orders that have been completed. There is so much that go on in the day-to-day operation and oversight of rental property. And if you are not recording it in a log, there is no way unless you're a genius, unless you major in rocket science, there is no way to remember everything that happens day in and day out with rental property and be able to recall it. Now, here's the thing, right? So let's go back up to Lynn's comment. She said, document, document, document. So let's say you have to go to court, right? And the judge is looking for some sort of evidence or record, some sort of log, some tracking system that you could produce in writing, okay, to the judge so that it would help you in your court case. And let's just say you have no documentation, you have not kept a log, you haven't kept any records, right? You don't have any letters. That's not going to do you any good in a court of law because they want to see what is in writing, what's in the contract, what's in the lease, what do you use to gauge and to determine your success and how you navigate this business. All right, Lynn, you said tax purposes, everything in one place, tenant notes, and so much more, always dated and put the time on it as well. Listen, this is great advice you are hearing, you're receiving on this evening. Please make sure that you are taking notes to the information that's being shared today, especially for tax purposes. Have everything in one place. Listen, um, I don't have a tenant's file near me, but one of the things that I do, let me share what I do have. This is not necessarily a tenant file, but here's what I do. For every file, right? For every tenant that you have, you should have a folder, okay? Make sure it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but please make sure that you have some sort of filing system, all right? Make sure that oh gosh, I wish I had a tenant's file, a dummy file set up in place. So in all of my tenant files, I have all their information. So I'm going to have their application. I'm going to have their vital documents, birth certificate, social security card, picture ID. I'm going to also have their proof of income, any bank statements, any assets. All of that information is going to be copied in the file. All right. And then also, I have what's called a file note. So, any conversation I have with the tenant, any service that we provide, any maintenance requests, all of those things are documented. So, I usually have a team that will set up the files, right? So, because I manage property in multiple jurisdictions, right, I have to make sure that my team and my staff are following my lead. So, every file, we have file notes. When tenant calls, when maintenance repairs are made or completed, if there is, let's say, they want to renew the lease, all of that stuff is documented in the file. So, Lynn, that's a great point. Thank you so much for that. Always document everything that's happening as a property manager. Your best solution for everything that you do on the property is to have a log book. Have a log book, have a record every day that I go into the office. I have a log book, and in my log book, I'll use this for instance every day of the week. So I love these little black books. All right. So let me pull this up so you can see it. So in this black book, there is a sheet that every day of the week, I'm capturing what's going on. I'm capturing what happened for that particular day. If I need to go back to, let's say, 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday, I can go back to that logbook and look and see what happened on that date. Documentation is so important. Please make sure that you are capturing as much information as property managers and owners if you're self-managing property. You never know when you're going to need this information, and it's better to have it versus needing it and not having it at all. And so I just wanted to take some time today to just discuss some of the costs in addition to the property management fee that people should be made aware of. You should understand and know that when people are managing property, especially if they are professional, they are experienced, they're educated, they're knowledgeable, they are on top of their game. Please don't make the mistake by expecting them to take a pay cut because maybe it's tight for you. If, as an owner, and I don't mean to sound harsh when I say this, but if you are managing, if you're self managing your property, you're not doing a good job, maybe consider hiring a professional who can help you out. So let me share this true story. True story. So I'm gonna share this true story. There's an owner, and they have a pretty nice size rental property. Okay. They made the mistake by hiring someone who was not knowledgeable about managing property. Okay. It was someone that they knew, someone who needed income, someone who needed a job. So they said, well, you know what? Okay, well, what could be so bad? Yeah, just go ahead and just manage the property for us. And so the person, they managed the property, and I'm sure they did the best that they could with the knowledge and the information that they had or that they knew, right? They had never managed property before. All right, so now that we know the background, okay, someone that the owner knew had no experience managing the property. They did the best they could based off of the limited knowledge that they had. All right. They did not make repairs as necessary or needed. There, at some point, was a roof leak that was never taken care of. And so the property leaked. When it rained, it leaked. When it snowed, it leaked. Okay. And we already know that what does water do? Water runs. Water will find the least resistant route. So water will run. Okay. And so for whatever reason, the property manager did not have the roof repaired or replaced. And over a period of time, the water that penetrated the property caused greater problems. All right. So a minor roof repair turned out to be a full roof replacement. In addition to that, all right, what happens when there's excessive water in rental property? What happens? I'll wait because I know some owners are here. What happens when there is a roof leak? There's water in the property, and the problem is not corrected. I'm sharing this information because I'm trying to prevent people from going down this rabbit hole that so many have gone down and are currently in. All right. So this property had a roof leak, wasn't repaired, had to replace the roof as a result. But the water that had penetrated this property for God knows how long has now started to develop mold in the property. Absolutely, Caprice. Thank you. You get it. Caprice says mold. Lynn says mold, mildew, and major repair. Absolutely. So this property manager had no experience managing property, no education at all. For whatever reason, did not make the repair. I don't know if they contacted the owner or not, but all I know is that the property has mold, it has mildew, which is more costly for this owner versus telling the owner that they had a roof leak so that the roof could have been repaired. And so the cost of not taking action is an expensive mistake. The cost of doing nothing is can be very expensive when it comes to managing property. And so if you are an owner, you're self-managing it, you're not doing a good job, like I said, hire a professional, but make sure that you are asking the right questions. If you have a company that's managing your property, if they are inexperienced, I promise you that that will not work out well, usually in the end, because that can sometimes cost owners more money versus making the hard sacrifices, paying the people who are qualified to actually manage that rental property. And so this is why I do what I do. I coach owners and landlords. I have clients who have self-managed a property. As a matter of fact, I have a client Hello, beautiful. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, Miss Davis. I have a client who plug. Let me just put this plug here. Then I'm gonna come back. Hey, Miss Davis, I'm gonna come back to your question. So let me just put this plug here. So I have a young lady who took my course. I have a 6-week course that I've created for owners and landlords because I recognize I'm stretched thin in terms of trying to work one-on-one with a lot of people. So I've created, it's called Landlord Master Strategy through my business, through my company, and it's a 6-week class. It's a 6-week course. So this one young lady, a client of mine, previous student of mine, after taking my class, she said, "You know what, Karissa? I'm paying all this extra money for a property manager, and I'm doing all the work." So I showed her how to put systems in place to self-manage her own rental property. And the money that she was paying the property management company, who did absolutely nothing for her, I told her to reinvest that money, maybe put it in an account, maybe purchase additional property. And so she ended up firing her property management company. She has self managed the property. She used the systems and the training, the coaching, and the teaching from my program, and she has been doing extremely well since then. All right. Hey, Kimberly, thank you so much for tuning in from South Carolina. We have landlords all over the place chiming in. So, Miss Davis, I'm coming back to you now. You said, my tenant has not paid rent in over a year. Yikes. This means my property manager has not been paid. How do I handle a property manager's fee? Great question. I would look at what is in your contract, meaning that are you required to pay your property manager if the tenant hasn't paid rent? That's what I don't know. Are you still required to pay your property manager? Right? That's the number one question that I can't answer. I would challenge you to look at your contract to see if legally you're still responsible for paying this manager. Could be that you do owe them the money. Now, if they are anything like me, maybe they are integral. They'll say, well, you know what? The tenants haven't paid rent. As a property manager, maybe they did their job, Ms. Davis. I don't know. But let's just say that they're integral. They're like me, right? The tenant hasn't paid their rent. Let's say for whatever reason, they haven't taken a tenant to court, maybe because of the pandemic. Maybe they didn't look into emergency rental assistance that has been available in a lot of areas and jurisdictions to help tenants who are not paying rent, right? So maybe they say, well, you know what, Ms. Davis, my bad. We apologize. We did not do our job as a property management company, so we're not going to charge you. But then you can have an individual, Ms. Davis, that will say, you know what, according to the contract, regardless if I've done my job or not, you haven't terminated the contract, so you're required to pay me my money. It just depends on what's in writing, and it also depends on that company. But I will say this, if you have a property management company that is not doing their job to collect the tenant's rent on your behalf, why are you paying them? I want people to understand that this does happen, and people pay for services they're not receiving. That's why I'm doing this live today, right now. That's exactly one of the reasons why I'm sharing this information today. So I'm sorry that you had to experience that, Ms. Davis, but if your property management company is not working, right, look at maybe terminating the service. Hire a company that will be able to help you to collect money from your tenants. Because if you're paying, I don't know if you have mortgage or debt owed on this property and what you're paying, but let's say you're paying all the fees, you're paying the taxes, you have to pay for utilities, and you now still have to pay a property manager for not doing their job. Are you treating it like a business? Are you treating it like a hobby? Do not be afraid to make the cuts, because at the end of the day, it's a business and it's impacting you financially. So it should be a business that's paying you. You shouldn't be paying for somebody else's mistakes. You shouldn't be paying, by way of a headache or having nightmares because the property manager isn't doing their job. All right. So Lynn, you may have to foot the housing bill for your tenants while repairs are being done. That's so true. And so if you have to pay repairs, right? You have to pay for the repairs that are being done. Okay. You have to pay for taxes, insurance, utilities. Why would you be paying for a property management firm that's not doing their job? That's just money going down the drain. I don't believe in wasting money. Okay, so you said fails. Same thing happened to me. My property management cost me a lot of money, but allowing the tenant to damage the property. That's no good. That's no good. So, unfortunately, this happens to a lot of people. Don't be afraid to find out from that property management company what they're doing, what are they going to do differently, to come up with a game plan or action plan to prevent this from happening. There is no problem with you asking your property management company or the manager if they are taking actions to, number one, reach out to the tenant to get the money that the tenant may owe for damage in the property, for unpaid rent, for late fees, right? All of this stuff adds up. So we talked about that one rental property where the fee was $300 a month. And some of you may actually pay more than that. Some pay less. It just depends on the contract, how many properties are being managed, and the fee, the fee, whether it's a flat rate or percentage that the company is charging. So that one $300 a month times 12, that adds up, right? So why would you pay for someone else's mistake? You don't need to pay somebody for bad behavior. You can self-manage it. Now, I'm not saying that you should because everybody don't know how to self-manage it. But if you have a property management firm that's not doing their job and you have tenants that's not paying rent, you still have to be responsible for maintenance. Do you need to pay somebody for something that you can just let your tenant just stay and not pay the rent or just take care of the maintenance on your own? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to pay somebody for their mistakes, is what I'm saying. And you say, yep, I just had to cut my property management company. Unfortunately, that happens. Fortunately and unfortunately, that happens. No mistake about it. No mistake. Don't even apologize because it's a business. You know, sometimes it happens. I have had clients, I've been managing property for years. I have had clients that I had to terminate their services. I had some clients, I wasn't a good fit for them and they had to terminate the contract. And guess what? At the end of the day, it's a business. Everybody is not a good fit. Everybody is not experienced. Everybody is not knowledgeable. But if you find something that isn't working, you have to stop the bleeding. So I'm sharing this information to try to prevent people from going through these type of scenarios and situations that I share. I'm sharing real life scenarios and stories and things that are actually happening in the life of people. Some of the comments and the questions that you heard today, they're real landlords that have experienced this. There are other people who, for whatever reason, they don't watch my Monday live. They don't get this free information that you're getting every Monday at 7:30. So please make sure you are tuning in every week. Please make sure that you are sharing information. All right. Sharing is caring. I share information. And so as I share it, please share it with others. Invite somebody that you know who is a landlord to tune in next Monday right here at 7:30 p.m. All right. Because my goal is to educate as many people as possible. And I shared previously how I have created a 6-week online course for landlords. You will work with me one-on-one if you feel like you need help, you need experience. If you are a realtor, if you want to get more information about property management, if you are an owner who want information about what a property manager should do, then I strongly encourage that you sign up for my class. All right. It's 6 weeks. I will put you through the test for sure because I want to make sure that you understand that rental property and being in this industry is so much more than collecting money at the beginning of the month. It's about making sure that you have systems in place to be successful. And if you are not serious about doing that, I have no desire to work with you. I have a love. I've been doing this for so long. I have a love and a passion for what I do. I enjoy helping people, not just tenants, but also for landlords. And every time I have a class, I'm adding more value. Now, when I first started, I made some mistakes, right? Thank you so much for that, Lynn. I promise you that I have made mistakes along the way, but this is why I'm sharing information, because my goal is to try to help you prevent some of the mistakes that I've made. And it's about adding value. It's about becoming better. We shouldn't be doing the same thing the same way forever. Things are always changing. The law will change. There will always be law, regulations, policies that will be updated. And what you don't know can and will hurt you. All right. So, and I appreciate you all for showing up every week at 7:30. But if you know you need help, get yourself some help. Don't pay for a service that you are not satisfied with. Don't throw money down a drain. Keep showing up. Keep getting this information that I share with you every week. Maybe at some point in time, you have enough information to successfully run your business. But if you do need more help, it's online. We don't have to meet face to face, one on one. I'm available. Let me bring up my email address one more time because I want you to have it. I want you to know I'm a real person. I don't just sit behind a computer. I manage property. I'm also a housing inspector. I teach property management. So some of the things that I have been doing, I'm going to start to cut back and scale back just because I am now putting a team in place. I actually have a team in place. Let me say that. I have a team in place that's ready to help you out. But if you have questions, here is my email address. So I have a class. We are getting started this week. Some of you have already signed up for my class. I do appreciate you. But if you have more questions, if you have, um, again, if you have a topic that you would like for me to cover, I usually will cover information that helps landlords as well as tenants each and every week. But if you have a topic that you think will be beneficial and helpful for other landlords or tenants to know about, or for me to discuss any questions that you have, this is my email address. Email me, please. Inbox me. Drop it in the comment section, and I promise I will do my best to cover it in the upcoming weeks. Listen, my time is up. I thank you for yours. Again, I am Karissa Spann. I am the landlord and tenant coach. If you want to go to my website, here's my landlordlife.com website. It is on the screen. And again, if you want to work with me, I have a landlord master strategy course. I promise it will be well worth your time. It will be well worth the investment that you are making in yourself as well as your property. And if you are a professional, you're looking to get more information, you're looking to learn strategies on how you can manage other people's property, sign up for my course. It will be well worth the investment. All right. I do appreciate you all. And again, if you have comments, if you have questions, I am here. This is what I do each and every week. I'm right here on YouTube, Facebook, as well as LinkedIn. All right. So I'll pause for any last minute comments or questions. That's what I'm here for. That's what this time is for. Use it. And if not, I will see you all next Monday at 7:30 p.m.